Ever get a hunch in your gut that you can't quite explain? Well, science says your gut may actually be whispering real-time updates about your future health, sometimes years in advance. So here's the big question we're tackling today. Could a routine bathroom break one day replace an entire lineup of cancer tests? First, a quick reality check. We already know the gut keeps quiet tabs on what's happening inside us. The magic trick now is learning to translate those hushed messages into clear warning lights. Think of researchers as code breakers. They're not just counting which microbes show up to the party, they're also digging through the chemical receipts those microbes leave behind. When they layer that paperwork onto powerful machine learning tools, patterns jump out. Patterns so subtle no doctor could ever spot them on a scan. Here's the jaw-dropper. Many of those patterns repeat across several digestive diseases. That overlap hints at a future where one simple stool or blood sample could screen for a whole menu of hidden problems in a single pass. Now, let's zoom out. Instead of waiting for trouble to flare, doctors could soon keep a baseline snapshot of your gut ecosystem, just like they track blood pressure or cholesterol today. Tiny drifts from your personal normal, not just flashing red alarms, might whisper that something's brewing long before a standard checkup would notice. And those drifts may link to things you'd never expect. Sleep quality, stress levels, even the meds you picked up last month. So how did scientists uncover these signals? They stopped looking at one disease at a time and pulled together massive datasets on many digestive conditions: early colorectal tumors, precancerous polyps, inflammatory bowel disease, plus some stomach and pancreatic issues. When they stacked the data side by side, certain combos of bacteria and metabolites kept popping up whenever something was off, even if the final diagnosis was different each time. Why does that matter? Imagine a future report that doesn't just say, "all clear," or "cancer." Instead, it might read, "We see a high-risk signature. Let's take a closer look at your colon." Or, "This looks more like chronic inflammation than a tumor." In other words, the test wouldn't replace colonoscopies or CT scans. It would help decide who actually needs them and when. That's gold for people in their 40s and 50s who feel fine, but sit in that gray zone where screening guidelines keep shifting. Here's how the models come together. Researchers feed algorithms thousands of data points per person, from bacterial DNA fragments to tiny metabolites drifting through stool or blood. The software then sorts out which combinations best separate healthy volunteers from folks with early disease. One striking finding: models trained on Europeans with small colon tumors could still spot disease in Asians with stomach lesions, with only a modest dip in accuracy. Translation: the signal isn't just a local quirk of diet or geography. Of course, there are caveats. Antibiotics, laxatives, even a rough week of sleep can nudge these readouts. A microbe that screams cancer risk in one population might be harmless in another. So teams are now testing repeated samples over months to create a clearer trajectory rather than relying on a single snapshot. They're also wrestling with the classic chicken or egg puzzle. Are some microbial shifts quietly helping tumors grow, or are they simply reacting to changes the tumor has already made? If the answers pan out, your future checkup could add one more line to the lab form: a microbiome metabolite panel, nestled right beside cholesterol and blood sugar. It wouldn't be a crystal ball, but it could offer an early nudge toward follow-up, lifestyle tweaks, or simple reassurance that your gut's quiet messages match a healthy track. Need a mental picture? Think about how fitness trackers evolved. Early step counters just tallied movement. Today, wearables fuse heart rate, oxygen, and sleep data to warn when you're getting sick or overtrained. These microbiome metabolite panels could play a similar role for your digestive system, and even neighboring organs. In practice, 3 people could all show an abnormal reading for totally different reasons. One with a silent polyp that needs scoping, another with smoldering inflammation calling for diet tweaks, and a third whose profile shifts after starting a new medication. Mental health research is inching in too. Certain microbial signatures now linked to chronic stress and depression. One carefully interpreted stool or blood sample could eventually guide not just cancer follow-up, but therapy timing, drug side effect management, and how intensively someone should be monitored after treatment. Picture doctors using these signals the way meteorologists use weather data, short-term storm alerts for sudden shifts, and long-term climate reports that track how risk creeps up year by year. That could reshape follow-up schedules, influence how microbiome-disrupting drugs are prescribed, and even rewrite survivorship plans, tailoring long-range monitoring to each person's evolving molecular weather map. So, where do we stand right now? We're still in the beta test phase, closer to lab benches than to a home kit by the sink. But pilot trials are already weaving these signatures into prevention programs, much like cities quietly add sensors to bridges. The more diverse volunteers who join and share long-term data, the sharper these early warnings will get for everyone. Let that sink in for a second. So here's what we covered today, lightning round style. 1. Your gut is sending chemical postcards about your health long before symptoms show up. 2. Scientists are decoding those postcards by pairing microbiome data with machine learning, revealing patterns shared across multiple digestive diseases. 3. Early studies suggest one routine sample could flag who really needs follow-up tests, saving time, anxiety, and yes, money. 4. Real-world hurdles remain. Antibiotics, sleep, even geography can muddy the signal, but month-to-month tracking is helping smooth out the noise. 5. If this research delivers, future checkups could include a personalized gut weather report, guiding everything from cancer screening to stress management. And here's the empowering part. This revolution needs everyday people. By joining studies or even just staying curious about your own gut health, you help sharpen the tools that could one day save lives, maybe even your own. Thanks for listening. Until next time, keep an ear on those gut whispers. They just might be telling you something important.